This is the Montana Outdoor Podcast, brought to you in part by Rocky Mountain Truck and Trailer in Missoula, home of Boss Snowplows, CM Truck Beds, and Diamond Sea Trailers. Just go to rmtte.com for more information. And by Superior Hardwoods of Montana, home of the largest selection of in-stock high-end wood products and flooring in the western United States. Let them guide you through the woods at superior-hardwoods.com. Now, get ready for more fascinating topics and the most interesting people you will ever find in Montana's great outdoors. We offer new podcasts most every Saturday. You can get a link to these podcasts by going to our website, montanooutdoor.com, or by going to our Facebook page, or just send an email to downrigger at montanooutdoor.com and say send a link to my email. It's that simple. Now let's head out with your host, Downrigger Dale, and see what's going on in Montana's great outdoors.
Thank you very much, Manny, and welcome all of you to the Montana Outdoor Podcast Studio. So great to have you here. And I want to welcome a special send-out welcome to the men and women of the United States Armed Forces for listening to this podcast, deployed all around the world. It's such an honor to have all of you here. And for all the rest of you, thank you as well for jumping on in here. We do appreciate it. Have a favor to ask everyone listening here today, and that is please share this podcast with your family and friends. Go to social media, wherever you'd like to share it. We always love to have you along. Now, today, I want to talk about something that is very near and dear to my heart, not just because I am a father of 8 daughters and 1 stepdaughter, all incredible ladies on their own, but also just because it's just really a great program. It encourages women to get out and discover Montana's great outdoors, and really it's a national program. It goes all around the nation. With me today is Kylie Kimball. She is the coordinator for the Becoming an Outdoors Woman, or BOW, B-O-W program. This podcast, Kylie, has gone all around the world and has grown incredibly. I'm just blown away by how it has grown. We're now in the top 1% of podcasts in the nation, which is just blows me away. And thank you to all of our listeners for that. So when you were on last February, a lot of people that are listening right now may not have heard that podcast. So before we get into what the BOW program has been up to lately, let's talk a bit about what you do for the program and for Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks.
Absolutely. So I actually run 2 programs for Fish, Wildlife, and Parks. One of them, the Becoming an Outdoors Woman, but also the Boater Safety Education program. And sometimes those overlap, like when we do kayaking classes. But my job is primarily to organize volunteers and community events to kind of get these skills, hands-on learning skills, opportunities to Montana.
Mm-hmm. And you do a great job of it. And I can speak from experience because my daughter, Davis, was just in one of your programs.
Yes.
On BOW. She was in the bird watching program that you guys just did. She absolutely loved it.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Yeah, she just loved it and is so excited to get involved in more of your programs. So kudos to you there. I just may convince her one of these days to go fishing with me now. She is discovering the outdoors.
Awesome.
She is becoming an outdoors woman. So I'm just thrilled about that, because when you live in Montana, I mean, if you're not spending some time in the outdoors, you're missing the greatest gift of all that this state gives you. So let's talk a bit about what you guys have been up to lately. Talk about, so far this year, some of the programs that you've done. I mean, we've mentioned the bird watching program, but go over some of the programs that you've done so far.
Absolutely. So annually we get to do our Kalispell ice fishing class, but this year we tried out something new in Helena. We tried an intermediate ice fishing class, and really that was just an opportunity for people who'd taken the class and haven't invested in the equipment, but want to keep trying it and want to keep getting out there and meeting new people. So that was a fun opportunity that we had. It was just a group of us, and we just went fishing for the morning. We've also started this year. I was very excited to bring wild game soap making back. And a local area biologist, actually, in the Helena area, taught me the skill. And I was like, well, you have to share this with Bo. People are going to love it. So I was very excited to bring
Wild
that
game
one.
soap making. Now,
Yes, sir.
give us kind of a brief description of what that is.
Yeah. So soap making is a pretty easy skill, surprisingly. And it's something that you can do. You don't have to harvest game. But our take on it is when you do harvest game, just one more way for you to use the animal and all the parts is to harvest all of that fat, that tallow. You render it down just like you would livestock. And that tallow is something that you can buy in the shelves, and you use it for cooking a lot of times. Well, if you add lye and water to it and some pretty scents, you actually can make soap.
I'll be dang. Now that I imagine is what they did back in the frontier days. That's how they had soap.
Absolutely.
Wow, cool. Now I have heard that like beef tallow that's been talked about. Now I see it on lots of different commercials and stuff on TV. That's like supposed to be great for your skin.
It is. It's very moisturizing. And we like to mix it up a little bit and add coconut oil or
Yeah.
some other tallows. And you can get a little softer soap that suds a little more. But the more livestock tallow or game tallow that you're using, the softer it is on your hands, but still just as cleansing.
I love it. Now I want to see the look on some guys' faces when gals that have gone to your program say, "Honey, give me the rest of that deer because I'm going to make us some soap," and watch them go, "What?" That's really cool. Now, does that take a long time to make, or is it a pretty simple process?
The rendering process can take quite a while. That's a full day
okay.
adventure for a few pounds. Because
Mhm.
you got to boil it down very slowly. You don't want to burn it. But the actual soap making, so once you have the tallow, the actual soap making you can do in an hour or two.
Wow. Jeez, who would have thought? That is really cool. Now, the Bow program, I mentioned just briefly when in the introduction here that is also a national program started at the University of Wisconsin like 24 or 25 years ago. How long has it been going on here in Montana?
Yeah, so it's actually been in Montana 31 years. It started in 1994.
Really?
Yeah, so a few more years.
Okay. I'll be danged. I had no idea. And how long have you been involved in the program?
This is my third year.
Third year as the coordinator?
Yes, as the coordinator. I actually discovered the program when I was invited to be a guest speaker in 2013. I believe I had met one of the volunteers on an eco tour to Churchill, Manitoba, and she came back and talked to the coordinator and brought me in to talk about our trip.
Wow, that's interesting. As far as the program in Montana, how has it evolved? Maybe give us an idea of the early days and where it's at now. Has it always had all these different programs, or have those kind of evolved into more programs in the year?
So the original format that came out of Wisconsin and that Montana started with is the 3-day, what we now call our summer bow. It's a 3-day all-inclusive camp where you take 4 classes, and then there's a bunch of evening activities, and that was your opportunity. Well, as we've learned, there's so many more people across the state that you can't reach in a single event. So programs around the nation started growing what we call beyond bows, and those are the smaller workshops like the ice fishing, or the Wild Games Don't Making, that we just do a single topic for a few hours. And that way we can go to more places, reach more people in a way that's a little more accessible.
Mm-hmm. So now we're into a lot of different programs, but that summer one is still extremely popular. Now that one this year is in August. What is that? August 8th through the 10th, right?
That's right.
Mm-hmm. And now has that filled up already? And if so, can gals get on a waiting list, or tell us where you're at on that?
Yeah, so we're still processing applications, but I do believe we already have a full set. However, we do
Mm-hmm.
absolutely accept wait lists. So all you got to do is on our website under BOW, go ahead and click on that application link, fill it out, and if we have a spot for you, I'll be in contact and we'll get you there.
Okay. Yeah, I think Davis got a little behind, so you may see her on the waiting list. But anyway, hopefully she can get involved because she has just fallen in love with your program, and rightly so. It's just a wonderful deal. It really is. How about for the rest of this year? What are some of the programs that you guys have had going?
Yeah, so we've got quite a few on our list this year. This coming weekend, May 30th and 31st, we're doing a flathead BOW, which is similar to the Big Bow where you choose classes, but it's only for a day, so they're super short. It's just a brief introduction. Then we've also got a backpacking workshop coming up the first weekend of June. We're getting that education or that introductory classes done this week. And those are two classes we're really excited about. But sneak peek, not officially announced yet, but we're looking to add a fly fishing workshop and an archery workshop near before August. And past August,
Nice.
we have not gotten to our planning yet.
Wow. So fly fishing and archery. What do you do in the archery program? Is that just setting up targets in that? Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, that's modeled with our NASP program, National Archery in the Schools program. And
Oh, okay.
yeah, that's all across the state. And there's a safety and a learning criteria there that is really useful across all ages. So we'll go through the basics of what archery is, how to do it safely, how to set yourself up for success. And then we'll get into shooting and aiming. And if we still have time, we'll even get into some 3D targets.
That has become so popular in Montana. It used to be that bow hunting was maybe for more hunters that really kind of wanted to get back to the basics. Now, I would say it probably rivals the rifle hunting out there, or has it passed it? Do you know? In Montana?
I'm not keyed in on that, so I'm not really sure, but I do know archery as a sport in general has become very popular.
It really has. And everybody I talk to that gets into it, whether they had this kind of training or just went out with a friend, they tell me how addictive that is, that it's really something that you get, hitting that target and knowing how to do it and all that becomes this great challenge that people just really love doing. So I imagine that's going to be a very popular one.
I think
And then, of course, fly fishing, that's huge in Montana.
it is. That's the easy class to fill for sure. But we get a lot of requests for archery, so we're hoping to bring that to more places.
Mm-hmm. And then you'll probably add more programs as the year goes along then?
Ideally, yeah, we will. I need to, my job is coordinating with the instructors, the volunteers who run the program, really. So we'll start reaching out to them about August, September, October here before too long.
Okay. Tell us about the instructors. Are they all women as well, or is it a mix of men and women?
It's a mix of men and women. What we've found, there were actually some recent studies out of South Dakota. And what they discovered is it's not the gender of the instructor, it's the attitude. And I think it's that supportive encouragement that we foster that really helps. some of our best instructors. It doesn't seem to matter what the gender is. They're all fabulous.
Hmm. Yeah. What kind of backgrounds do they come from as far as qualifications in that?
It's a very wide range. So we have people who worked with search and rescue who do our wilderness survival and our map and compass classes. One of our fly fishing instructors is a retired fisheries biologist from Fish, Wildlife, and Parks. So it's a pretty wide range. And some people are just, really big advocates for either the program or their particular sport. And they've spent a lot of time honing that and want to share it.
That mapping and compassing thing, I wish they had when my girls were younger, because they never seemed to get home quite on time. Used to say, "Did you lose your way or what?" as I'm pacing the floor. But no, that's just wonderful. As far as what do you say to a woman that maybe has always wanted to get involved and learn about the outdoors, but they go, "Oh, I don't think I ought to get involved in this. I don't have any experience. I'm just going to slow everybody down." What do you say to them?
I'd say you're our target audience. This whole program is designed to introduce you at a very basic level. So, we're here to give you that very basic skill set so that you have the confidence to go out and learn more or ask more questions, or even just purchase the equipment and start trying it more yourself.
Hmm. Yeah, and what I like about these programs is you provide equipment for them to learn. So it really gives them an idea of to kind of dip their toe in the water a little bit, so to speak, and see if fly fishing is their thing or archery is their thing before they get too far along. So yeah, those of you listening out there, don't shy away from this. It's a lot of just beginners, aren't there,
Absolutely.
in your program? Well, that's what we want to encourage, and take it from my daughter. She was not one that ever did outdoor stuff in that, and she is into it now. She loves it.
Good.
So you guys are doing it the way. What kind of shape do they need to be in to get involved in the programs that you offer here?
Generally, you don't have to be in any kind of shape.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Some classes are specific. If we go to a more advanced level, we'll let you know in the advertisement for this backpacking class, because you do have to carry 40 pounds for 5 miles. We do ask for a base level there, but we're very clear about that. So in cases of classes where you need a base level, we'll be clear and we'll let you know. But for everything else, if we haven't been explicit, it's for everybody.
Okay. Back to the instructors. How hard was it for you to find instructors out there?
I
Was that difficult?
I was lucky. I inherited some really incredible instructors. And for their part, they've brought in a few more. It's always a challenge to find new people, and it's something I'm constantly working on. FWP staff, it's easy to bug them because I'm like, hey, we work together. You need to help. But in terms of community members in Eastern Montana, we've always struggled to get volunteers. But I was, very lucky to have a good base when I started.
Well, that's half the battle right there. Are you looking for more instructors? Is that something you're trying to add, or just in case some of our listeners out there say, hey, I might want to do that?
Absolutely. We're always interested in talking to people about new skills or just the same skills in new places. We'd definitely love to hear from people interested.
Okay, good to know. Kylie, I want to mention something before we go on here about one of our sponsors, Superior Hardwoods of Montana. We could not do this podcast if it weren't for companies like Superior Hardwoods of Montana. Just a great group of folks. And speaking of Superior Hardwoods of Montana, I have a little question for you. Have you ever thought of doing a DIY project for your home? I've known John, Corey, and the rest of the gang at Superior Hardwoods in Missoula, Montana for a very long time. They've always been there for me, and I know they'll be there for you too. A true partner to help complete your DIY home improvements. Heck, they have been doing that since 1977. Whether you're dreaming of a charming accent wall or a complete floor makeover, they have it covered. There is no better feeling than the satisfaction of adding a touch of history to your home with their unique reclaimed woods. Now, I'm not just talking about lumber here. I'm talking about a story waiting to be told. My friends at Superior Hardwoods of Montana proudly stock over 11 acres of stunning reclaimed wood, perfect for turning your house into a home that is as unique as, well, you are. And don't worry, if you're just starting out with your first DIY project, the pre-finished flooring, pre-finished paneling, and trim options at Superior Hardwoods make it easier than ever to tackle any project like you've been doing it for years. So what do you say, gang? Why not dive into your next DIY adventure with confidence and let the decades of experience that they have at Superior Hardwoods take you through every step? Need a little inspiration? Well, visit them online at superior-hardwoods.com. Now, that's a great place to start out by browsing their website, again, at superior-hardwoods.com. That's superior-hardwoods.com. Not only will they help guide you through your home makeover with all their amazing ideas and their over 100,000 square feet of the most incredible wood flooring, paneling, and other wood products, they'll actually guide you through the woods. Now, what do I mean by that? I'll give you an example. First time I went to their showroom just south of Missoula on Highway 93 South, I was blown away by the unbelievable selection of different types of wood from not just Montana, but from all over the world. Best of all, I sat down with them, told them a bit about what I was thinking of doing, and the next thing I knew, I was hearing incredible ideas and learning about the perfect wood for what I wanted to do. That is what I mean by letting them guide you through the woods at Superior Hardwoods of Montana. Go see them. So, back to the instructors, Kaylee, what would you say? Is it difficult to find these people that want to, take the time to do this? Is it been pretty easy for you? And number two to that question is, are you looking for more instructors?
Yeah, looking for instructors and finding new people to join the program has always been a challenge. I think there's a lot of people interested in recreating, but having the confidence and the interest to share that with others is always difficult to foster. So we're absolutely looking for new instructors, especially in Eastern Montana.
Oh, okay. As I understand it, from Montana, there are women that can actually from other states get involved in your program there in Montana. Have you had good participation from women out of state that say, hey, I've always wanted to learn about stuff in Montana?
Yeah, so there's like 38 states that have their own BOW program, and some of
Mm-hmm.
them are in more demand than others. So we have a handful of participants who come from out of state, but not a big run of them.
Okay.
There's always a few, though.
And vice versa, can women from Montana get involved in those programs in those other 34 states if they have room, obviously?
Yeah, and each state runs theirs just a little bit different in terms of setting priority for their most popular event. So you should definitely check with the state that you are interested in participating in. But a lot of participants go to other states and they bounce around between a bunch of different bows because each state offers something a little bit different, and it's nice to get a different
Mm-hmm.
perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's really a neat idea as far as, if you want to branch out a little and check out some more. But I mean, there's just so much to discover here in Montana that I can't imagine that this program is ever going to go away. If anything, I would think it's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger. Do you find it's getting more in demand here in Montana?
I think there's a lot of demand for it. We're definitely not able to accommodate every single person who applies for our classes. And part of
Hmm.
that is because we keep them small so that we can tailor the experience and the hands on learning to help better foster participants. So I think there's always going to be a good demand for a program like this.
Hmm. I gotta agree. I just think this is going to be around a long, long time and do nothing but get bigger and better as it goes along. Um, so if people want to get more information, as and I'm going to have links and all that stuff in our podcast description page, and I'll put some links up here on the screen for everybody too. But uh, where is the best place to get more information? Because I imagine we're not going to answer every single question in this podcast. There's going to be things that come up. Where should they go?
Absolutely. They should check out Fish, Wildlife, and Parks website. So that's fwp.mt.gov. In
Hmm.
there, we have an education portion, and from there you can find BOW. My contact information is there, but that's where all of our classes are announced initially, and a bulk of the information for each class goes into that website.
Hmm. And if you get involved and let's say somebody says, "Boy, I went." For example, in the case of my daughter, I went to that bird watching one and it was phenomenal. Then they should just share that with other friends. If they think there's some other friends that want to get involved, just have them go to that website, and that's going to be their best bet to do that. And do you sign up from that site as well? Is that correct?
Yes, and don't let me forget to tell you that we do have an email list, and every class that we post gets emailed out. If you sign up for our email list, you can find that on the website. But every class and all the registration information is on that website.
Hmm. Yeah, I think I got myself on that website because I always get all your updates and all that stuff. And in fact, and that's how I got my daughter involved. Was I sent her a copy of the email, and I said, "Hey, you might just want to think about this." And she goes, "Now that to me sounds more interesting. No offense, Pop, but rather than you trying to, push me in this direction or that, just getting with other ladies and learning about it." And she found that was a better way to enter in this whole idea of getting out in the outdoors more. So it it's a good way to do it. And I us men sometimes we tend to be a little pushy and not be, oh, you got to do it this way, where it's a lot better for everyone just to discover it. Um, when you talk to ladies after they've had, say, their first or second experience, what are some of the comments that you get from them?
It's a wide range. Some women are taking these classes just to try something new. And so they're like, well, that was fun. I don't know if it's for me. But they're still glad that they came out and met some new people. Some of them are making friends and trying other activities. And some of them, they fall in love with the programs. I met an instructor out of Kalispell who hasn't typically worked with us, but came back in on a special request from the main instructor. And she had taken his class and discovered she absolutely loved ice fishing. And now she is busy every weekend ice fishing. So it's a wide range.
Yeah, and that's a sport that I guess my daughters have never liked being cold. Who does? But it seems like ice fishing is really popular with women. And they're really good at it. And that's the one thing I've noticed having all daughters that I've noticed. Women tend to listen better than men. Sorry, guys, but I speak from experience. They do. They're great learners. And when they find something they like, they really get into it. And why do you suppose that is that ice fishing has become so appealing to them?
It's hard to say, and it's different for everybody. Some of the
Sure.
things that I personally like about ice fishing is it's fairly relaxing.
Mm-hmm.
You get in a hole over some perch and you just get to hang out and reel up your fish. It can be very social activity as well. And with the right equipment, you don't have to be that cold. And there's a
Right.
ton of opportunities of locations in Montana to go. And, winter is long and it's a lot of dark
Exactly.
hours. And getting out and getting a little sunshine does wonders for the health.
Yeah. Yeah. I've always said if you don't find a winter, hobby of something to do and get out in Montana, you're up for a long winter. And so anytime you can find something, whether it's snow skiing or like we were just talking about, ice fishing or any of that, you got to try it. I think you're going to love it. So as far as women that have their first experience in these comments that you get, has there ever been one of these events, one of these bow events that surprised you, either in a good way or bad way or whatever, that you went, I didn't think that would be a takeaway for this event?
I think we learn something every time we do a class. Even when I'm repeating ice fishing classes, it's a whole new group of people. So we're always learning something new, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's the takeaway, is to never
Yeah.
expect things to go a certain way.
Well, and I suppose at times somebody tries something that you never even thought of having them do, that all of a sudden that becomes part of your curriculum in a way, I suppose. Of, hey, this person tried this. I had no idea to try it that way. As far as things coming up, any interesting stuff in the works that maybe will be new for Bo down the road? Kylie, before you answer that, though, I want to mention another one of our great sponsors who make this podcast possible. I can't thank Rocky Mountain Truck and Trailer enough for all they've done for this podcast. They're kind of famous for making life a lot easier with all the different equipment that they have. Heck, they even have an idea for taxes. Here on the Montana Outdoor Podcast, we talk about doing fun stuff out here in Montana's great outdoors. Now, we don't bring up work, and we for sure don't talk about taxes. Well, that is until now. But hey, don't worry. I'm going to talk about those things in a good way. What do I mean by that? Well, my friends at Rocky Mountain Truck and Trailer can help you put your tax refund into the perfect equipment that will get the job done way faster so you can get back out of here with us and do all the fun stuff in Montana's great outdoors. Now, how can that be? Well, just talk to the gang at Rocky Mountain Truck and Trailer, and they'll show you their incredible line of new baseline equipment trailers and dump trailers. I'm here to tell you, those are things that will for sure help you get the job done faster than you likely have ever thought possible. Now, let me give you an example. Baseline dump trailers have the absolute best combination of quality and functionality that will flat make those trailers the backbone of all your projects. See, the Baseline dump trailers at Rocky Mountain Truck and Trailer feature a multifunctional gate with a holdback system and board brackets to give you extra hauling capacity and stability. And like I said, it's a dump trailer, so whether you're clearing debris, hauling gravel, or managing construction tasks, when you get to where you're going, you just turn it on, dump the load, and before you know it, you're heading to your favorite lake, river, or stream. And that's just one example of how my friends at Rocky Mountain Truck and Trailer can help you increase your productivity and make your workday go a whole lot smoother and faster. So go see your Baseline dealer. It's Rocky Mountain Truck and Trailer. They have inventory in stock right now for purchase. So go see them today. That's Rocky Mountain Truck and Trailer in Missoula, Montana at 5680 Expressway. Or just give them a call, 406-549-4243. Or you can go see their whole inventory online at rmtte.com. That's rmtte.com. do it today because, hey, we miss you out here. It's time to come fishing.
We're always looking to add new classes. I think my focus right now is just getting more instructors on the ground. So even if they're teaching the same skills we offer, we can offer them in new places. That's my goal.
Yeah, good idea. What would you say is your hope for the main takeaway that you hope women get out of this?
Out of this podcast?
No, out of this podcast or just out of the boat program in general. If there was one hope that you had, what would you like women to take away from it?
Well, I think my main goal in coordinating this program is to give women confidence to know that they can go do these things. And they don't necessarily need someone holding their hand. If you want to go with a partner or a friend, all the better. But my main goal is to give them the tools to be able to do these things that if they want to continue doing them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The outdoors is no longer just a male-only deal. I mean, it's far from it. Believe it or not, there was a time in fact, there was a law in the books in Montana that said women were not allowed to fish alone.
Right.
And now, look how far we've come. And that's because of women like you and others, Kaylee, that have said, no, we're going to get out there and do this. And it really, I have just seen such a big change in the way things go now. And that's a great thing because the more a family, a couple, in fact, I just did a podcast not long ago with a couple that met, their first date was going out fishing. And they now fish in tournaments together. They're like some of the top fishermen in the state. And it all started from that one date. And in fact, she had never fished before in her life. And now, typically, she catches more fish than he does. But it was just so neat to see how they've used the outdoors as this way that has really strengthened and kept the relationship always fun and fresh and getting out and doing things. And I also had the governor and first lady on, and they talked about the same thing of how much they do out in the great outdoors and how much that's a big stress reliever and all that. And in today's world, where we spend so much of our time in front of these screens and that, which I'm glad you folks are there right now, but how is that for what you've seen with the women that participate as far as that, the outdoors being that big stress reliever?
Yeah, I think it is for everybody. I think, medical professionals talk about nature and outdoors and vitamin D, simple things like that. But I think it's also a really big part of the Montana way. And to be an inclusive Montana, we need to help support people getting out, trying new activities, and becoming participants in these activities. So even if you grew up in Montana, maybe you didn't have an opportunity to try fly fishing. Maybe you were a hunting family. And so getting out these new activities, learning a new skill is very good for brain chemistry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really is. How about as far as like mother-daughter? Do you see that happen in Bow? Do you see mothers bring their daughters into Bow? And what is the age restriction there?
Yeah, so BOW is for 18 and older, so we do have a criteria there. But with that said, our programs bring in mother-daughters. They bring in grandmother, granddaughter. They bring in sisters. We had a school reunion one year at our summer Bow where 4 friends from high school met.
Really?
Yeah, so we give them
that's
all.
Great idea. Yeah, what a great way to reconnect, because the outdoors, that's one thing that connects all of us. What a great idea. I love it. This program has a lot to offer, and I guess the reason that I like to get you on here is I just want everyone to know about this because, as I said, speaking from my experience, I've always wanted my kids to get out and get connected into the outdoors because it does change you, and it changes you in an extremely positive way. So I really hope that's what people take away from the podcast when I get you on, Kaylee, is I really want people to know that it is something they should try. And don't ever go, oh, I don't know if I'll like that. You won't know until you try it. And I think, do you see a lot of those new faces coming back once they get going in your programs?
We see a handful of new faces, either trying the same skill again because they aren't able to get the equipment or they just like the camaraderie. Sometimes we get similar faces trying lots of different skills because we do offer lots of classes. We do get a lot of new faces.
Yeah. How about cost? What is the typical cost of these programs? I'm sure, obviously, it varies depending on the length and the complexity of it. I know, like for the summer bow, where it's they're there for 3 days, that's more. But talk a bit about costs and how I've just feel that the costs are very low for these.
They are low.
It just seems like you guys do a great job of holding it down.
Yeah, we keep it low because these are for everybody, and it is a state-sponsored program. So our base rate, if all you're getting is instruction and loaned equipment, is $15 for our classes. The more we tack on to the class, so the more days or the more meals, like the backpacking, it starts to go up from there. The backpacking is running at $65. And then, of course, our all-inclusive weekend is between $250 and $350.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but still, that's really low, and that's great. I love that. Now, there is some possibilities for financial assistance, right?
On the summer bow program, there is, because it is more expensive, and we want people to feel like they can still come. So we do offer $100 scholarships.
Anything else that you'd like folks to know about your program that you want to share with our listeners while we got them here?
Yeah, I just think, come give us a try. The whole point of this program is to introduce you to new things without being cost prohibitive. So we're here, reach out by email, ask us questions, let us know what you want to see on the landscape too. We're always looking for new activities to try.
Yeah, and I'm going to put a link to your email address as well, so folks will be able to just click on that and it'll populate all the stuff in their email program and out it go, and just ask her whatever you want, folks, and learn about this and see if it's right for you, and maybe pick one of the shorter, easier programs just to make sure it's for you, and go from there. But don't knock it till you try it, as they say. I really hope that folks will get out there and do that. Give us that website and other things again, just so our listeners, some of the podcast locations that people get that are, say, audio only and they don't include my description. So give that out one more time just in case.
Yeah. So on the Fish, Wildlife, and Parks website, that's fwp.mt.gov. And there you'll find a link to education. And under education, you'll find Becoming an Outdoors Woman.
Okay. So give it a shot and give it a link, and be sure and share this podcast with your friends and all that, because I can feel it already. Some of you are going to go, oh, so-and-so would love to do this. So be sure and share this podcast, and we'll have you on again. And as it grows and you find new things and that, let us know. And of course, always, if there's any info you need to get out that you would like us to share, let me know. I'm more than happy to include it in any podcast and remind people that there's either to get signed up or that. So thank you so much. I really do appreciate you coming on and spending so much time with me.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to the Montana Outdoor Podcast. It has been brought to you in part by Superior Hardwoods of Montana, home of the largest selection of in-stock high-end wood products and flooring in the western United States. Let them guide you through the woods at superior-hardwoods.com. And by Rocky Mountain Truck and Trailer in Missoula, home of Boss Snowplows, CM Truck Beds, and Diamond Sea Trailers. Just go to rmtte.com for more information. So what did you think of today's podcast? Send your questions and comments to Downrigger at montanooutdoor.com. We should be dropping a new podcast this next Saturday. Until then, we will see you soon out in Montana's great outdoors.